we just had 4-day weeks all the time. I was talking to Christian Chapman. You ready? Is Wilber in here? Check this out. His son goes to a school that only goes to school 4 days a week. Come on now. We got to work that out. I think they go longer though. They go like 2 weeks longer than we do. So I don't know. We'll have to weigh the cost. All right, check this out. I've got some announcements for you guys. First off, speaking of Christian Chapman, the spiritual emphasis, man, that was awesome. I love to see it. We had over 100 of you guys making decisions to passionately follow Jesus, and we're in the process of following up with you guys. You'll see some people connecting with you, including myself and some of our students and teachers and things. But we just want to touch base with you and encourage you in your faith. Also with that, this is a big thing, right? If you took some like an IOU for the stuff, t-shirts, books, CDs, whatever, you got to get that stuff in. Part of what happens with Christian is a pastor at church. They just started. They've only been doing it for like 6 weeks, and so it's a church plant. So he's actually only part-time right now in the church until they grow to the point where they can do that. So part of like that stuff right there helps support he and his family. So make sure you follow through. If you took something, bring it into the office. Bring the money into the office. Follow up with that. So you can help support them as well, but also just being a person of integrity with that. So follow that up. We have your name. If you've paid, make sure that gets checked off in the office. So we take care of that. This weekend we have a lot of stuff with athletics going on. So you ready for this? There's no football game tonight. It's actually tomorrow night. Saturday night, and it's at Turpin High School at 7 o'clock. We're playing Miami Valley Christian Academy. Okay, so that's what we got. Y'all ready for that? Go out and support them. We also have guys and girls soccer here, 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock at home. So you come out and check them out. Yeah. We got one person excited about that. Taylor's excited about that. That's what's up. Who are you guys playing, Taylor? Miami East. Is that a big game for you guys? Yes. You got to come out for that. Who are you guys playing? Doubleheader, Miami East. Come out, the Vikings. The Vikings. Make sure you come out. Cross country is at Tiffin tomorrow, right? Where is Tiffin? Lake Erie? Woo! I'll support you from Twitter. But if you want to go up to Lake Erie and watch them run, yeah, do that. Do that if you want to do that. That's awesome. Also, we have, in a couple weeks, it's called the Illumination and Amplify Tour. We actually have, it's at Dark County. There's some flyers outside of my office, and then at the T. Okay, make sure everybody knows this. We have like really one main hallway at the school, right? It's kind of hard to get lost. This area right here that dead ends, that's the T. T, right? So that's the T. Everybody's clear where that is. There's actually some flyers up there that talk about the tour, but we actually have the Amplified tour actually has some of our TC family that are going to be playing there. It's at the Dark County Fair, September 21st. I think the tickets to get into Amplified things like $5 or 5 canned goods. So it's like real cheap, real easy to get in. I think that'll be pretty sweet. Check that out. So check out, if you're interested, check out the information on the posters. They have a website. The Illumination Tour has some pretty big bands, Mercy Me, and a bunch of other stuff that's going on there at the Dark County Fairgrounds. So that's pretty sweet. This year, our year verse is Proverbs 3:5-6. It's trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your understanding, in all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight. That's our focus for this year. That's the direction we're headed for this year. And so we're going to be spending some time the next few weeks in chapel. We're going to be going through a series specifically working through this year verse. So Dr. Wilber is going to be coming up today and speaking, kind of giving us an overview, getting us into that verse and kind of catching us up with that. And then the next few weeks we'll have Mr. Gaines coming up next week. Talking about this idea of trusting in God and not leaning on your understanding. Then we have a short week after that, right? Parent-teacher conferences. We've got 3 days of school. That's what's up. And Hike and Serve is that week. Is that correct? Hike and Serve is that week. So we have that going on, and then we come back. You'll get to hear from the wonderful Mrs. Ward, who's being a servant back here right now, actually, as we speak, talking about what this idea of acknowledging God, submitting to Him. And then I'll follow up the end of the series with this idea that that God will direct your paths and make your path straight. So that's where we're going to be going in chapel. So you'll see your path is the theme, it's the direction we're heading for. And so we wanted to start it off with giving you guys a really clear illustration of what that looks like. So we're going to have some fun up here for a little bit. Luke Dillahunt, will you come up here? He offered to be a guinea pig, a mouse, if you would. Dillahunt. You know what this is, right? That's a mousetrap. These aren't rigged. These are the real deal. Woo! Woo! There's a path up here. We're talking about this idea of the path, right? There's a path up here, and I need you to walk through that path. It's lined with mousetraps, right? So I need you to do that. Did you have Mr. Brubaker in junior high Bible? Okay, Mr. Brubaker, are you here? I need you to give me a hand, just running the camera. That's all you're doing, because I need everybody to be able to see this. Come on up here. Come on up here, Luke Dillahunt. Come on up here, Mr. Brubaker. Come on up here and give it up for us. All right, you ready for this? This is gonna be some good stuff. All right, just so you can, because it's hard to see up here. Just so you see. Okay, we need you to be able to see this. So Mr. Brubaker, I want you to just keep this on you. Okay, here's what I want you to do. I'll hold the sweatshirt. I'll hold the sweatshirt. This will come and play later. Actually, I just want you. Woo! How you doing? I just want you to take a walk through the path. Just go ahead and walk through the path. You don't want to step on these things. They do hurt. Just take a walk through, and from start to finish. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Okay. All right. There you go. No, he's good. He's good. Just getting a feel for it. Nice. Okay. Okay. It's doable, right? Okay. Come back over here. You don't have to walk through if you don't want to. This dangerous territory. Okay. So now what we need you to do is remove your shoes. Oh. He's got a day to heal, right? And side note, here's the box. It kills mice, not Luke Dillahunt. So, advertising, we're okay. We're all right. Okay. You're removing your shoes. This brings us a little dangerous element into it. These things do kind of hurt, actually. So here's what you're going to do. I need you to actually pick somebody that's going to help you with this. I want you to pick somebody that you feel like can help you get through this thing.
I'm going to pick our fairly state football team, Travis Slump.
Travis Slump, come on up here. All right, so here's what we need you to do, because you were able to walk through it. It's doable. Okay, check this out. I want you to put this hoodie on backwards. I want you to put it on backwards. Flip the hood up. All right, ready for this? Seagrave's in the back. I'm gonna grab this white mic for Travis here. Big T Slum. T Slum, man. Check this out. I don't know if you guys knew this or not. He's a king. He's royalty, right? What was it? Miami County Fair King? Yeah, baby. The king of Miami County is in our presence right here. That's what I'm talking about. Big T Slum. Okay, here we go. This is what I'm going to have you do. I'm going to put this hood up. You good? Good. You can't see a thing. No shoes. I want you to get through this maze again. And Big Travis he's going to help you walk through that. Now, you guys out there, you can do whatever you want to do. If you want to participate in this, you want to encourage him, you want to throw him off, I don't care. That's entirely up to you guys. But I want you to get through this without setting off any mousetraps. If you do, and you break your toe, man, that's going to be a rough game tomorrow. So make sure you get him through it. You're going to talk in the mic there. You're going to talk in the mic and get him through this, okay? Here we go.
All right, you're going to want to take one normal step forward with your right foot. Go to the left. There you go. Now, bring your right foot up.
Down!
foot up.
This is gonna get a little. This is a hard part of the course right here. This is gonna be tough. Don't fall. Don't fall. That is gonna be tragic.
All right. So move your right foot up. Sit it down. You're on the table.
Yeah. You gotta get back in the back. Get back in the back. Go. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Well, it's gonna walk in the back. Oh.
Move your left foot up.
Mr. Brubaker is loving this right now. He's like, man, all the times in my class.
Move it to the left, just sit it down. There you go. Now, move your right foot forward.
Yeah, you're good right there. Right there. Sit it down. Right there. Right there. You're good. You're good. Oh.
Now, all right, there's a lot right here. Just kind of take a like a huge step forward, like with your left foot. Farther. Now, bring your right.
Oh!
All the way up. All the way up.
Give it up for Louisville. You know what? You can keep that sweatshirt. We'll take care of it. Here's what I need you to do. Lou, you're gonna join me down on that stage right there, okay? You're gonna join me down. Hey, give it up for Travis right there. Working through that. How's your feet? They hurt. That's not fun. All right, so check this out. I'm going to got some follow-up questions. Jake, go ahead and take a seat, and I'll share this mic with you. So I'm going to follow up some things with you, and I want you guys to think through some of the implications of what you just saw. There's a lot that just happened here that speaks volumes about life and about our faith and about how we approach things as we go. So first question, this is really important. Why did you select the person you did?
Because he's Travis Snow.
What does that even mean?
He's just a tank. He's our fearless leader for football, only senior. We just had to go with him.
Okay. So you've been in situations where he's leading you already? Okay, so you trust that? Do you regret asking him that? No. Okay. All right, we're good. Were there some people that crossed your mind that you immediately thought, I'm not choosing them? You don't have to drop names, right? But like, were there some people that... Yeah, okay. I think you just looked at one of them. Did you? Okay, you're gonna find them. You want to make them stand up? No, don't do that. So why would you not drop a name? Why would you not select that person?
I don't trust them.
Yeah, that's one of those, when we do this, you know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta look at the voices you're listening to, somebody that you trust, somebody you spend time with, right? It's interesting to see some of that stuff. Before you put the hoodie on, I actually had you walk through that. Did you try to kind of get a feel for where things were, or memorize where you could try to step?
No.
It was obvious. It was kind of difficult though, right? Would it have even helped?
No.
No, not at all. It's good. What was the biggest challenge you had walking through this part of this little mousetrap?
Having to overcome the pain.
All right, the pain. Was it easy to hear, Sloan? Yeah, it's good. Did any of the voices out here play into what you were doing?
No.
You're able to tune them out. There's some convincing voices. You heard Drew. I heard Drew and Aaron like, make him step on one. Like they wanted to see something happen. How did you know Travis's voice?
He had a microphone?
So did I. I was talking too. How did you know that it wasn't me and it wasn't him?
He was like right beside me.
Right? So you could actually hear him, not even in the microphone, you could actually hear him because it was close to you. Right? Cool. All right, give Luke a hand real quick. That takes a man right there to walk through mousetraps. I don't know why, but he's a stud right there. I appreciate that. There's a lot here going on. When we look at this verse, right, this passage about trusting the Lord with all your heart, that God will make your path straight, there's a lot to unpack with this thing. So we're going to spend some time doing that at the beginning of this year. One of those things, and I think we pick it out, is how do you know to trust God Why do you trust this God? Or why would you trust this God? How do you hear his voice? How do you know what you're thinking is God is God? How do you work through that? So we're going to spend some time this year trying to answer some of those questions and unpacking it for you guys. Check this out. Everybody is walking a path in life. Everybody's moving somewhere. And the voices around you are telling you different things about how to walk that path, how to move forward in life. It's really important that you guys catch this this year in terms of where you're headed in life. That trust factor, and I've said this a lot lately. You guys hear a lot of voices, more so than I did when I was growing up, more so than some of our faculty growing up. You hear a lot of voices. How do you know which ones you should trust and listen to? That trust factor is probably one of the most important things for you guys as you start to navigate through life. So I want to take a look at that idea another way, and then we're going to have Dr. Wilber come up and share with us today. So let's take a look at this video.
Jesus, I just don't trust you.
You don't trust me?
No, I mean, I want to trust you, I just don't.
I have an exercise that I think will really help you.
Oh, okay.
Stand here and face this direction. Now, do you trust me?
No, I just said I don't trust you.
All right, well, this is all part of the exercise.
Oh,
all right?
right, okay.
Whenever I ask you if you trust me, you say, yes, Jesus, I trust you.
Even though I don't.
It's practice.
Okay.
So, do you trust me?
Yes, Jesus, I trust you.
Now, fall back.
Are you going to catch me?
Don't worry about that part.
Okay, that's the part I'm worried about.
You can do this, okay? Just trust me.
Trust you.
Fall back.
Okay, well, Jesus, I trust
Good.
you. Yes, I do trust you. I'm going to fall
Okay.
back. Woo!
Oh, okay.
That's great.
Let's try this again. Just face this direction and keep your feet planted, all right? Do you trust me?
Yes, Jesus, I trust you.
Now, fall back.
Okay, I'm gonna do it.
All right.
I'm really gonna do it. Okay.
Good.
Oh, Jesus, you really caught me! I didn't think you were gonna catch me, but you did!
Oh, that was great!
That was great!
You're ready for level 2.
Level 2, here
Yes.
I come, baby! Woo! Whoa!
Okay, hold it.
Oh, you know what? You're too close. You need to move back.
Ah, right.
Okay.
This one's a little bit different, Laura.
Okay.
Stand here,
Uh-huh.
but face me.
Woo! Forward fall. I
Okay.
can do that.
Wait.
Whoa.
Okay, wait for my signal.
Oh, right, the Jesus signal.
Yes, the Jesus signal. Do you trust me?
Yes, Jesus, I trust you so much.
Good. Fall back.
That's awesome.
It is awesome, especially when you do it.
Seriously?
Of course.
Okay, Jesus, I don't know if you noticed this, but there is nobody over there.
I know it looks that way to you.
It looks that way. It is that way.
You can do this, Laura. Just trust me and fall back.
Jesus, I can't do that.
We can do it together.
I can't.
You can.
I won't.
Click. It hit me kind of hard. Because I've been in that situation in my life. And still at different times in my own life. And that's why this year we want to take some time to try to understand a little more clearly what this passage in Proverbs is really talking about. But not just to hear it, but to put it into practice. And so together, and I say together because it's me too, we're going to try to understand a little more clearly how I can trust and how I can know and experience the promise of that path that's straight. Last week we had a great time together for spiritual emphasis weekend. To do a follow-up after Christian, that's not an easy thing. I mean, that guy was super. I tell you what thrilled my heart. This is a little side note. Thursday afternoon, coming into this place, and I mean, I couldn't understand all the words that he was singing. But watching you participate through dance, my heart good. Walking in this gym yesterday, watching what do we call it? It's not the show choir that we're calling it. Watching the show choir enjoy singing and dancing is my heart good. To see you engaged and to enjoy being here as a group does my heart good. And so my hope for us this morning is that we can take a closer look at what does this thing really mean to us. And part of my hope this morning is sharing and being a little more vulnerable with you in my own life on some things. Because this trust thing is huge, and it's not an easy thing to do. That girl saying, I don't want to, been there, done that. Yet I also want to share that there's many times in my life where I have trusted and seen it work. So let me begin with a word of prayer. God, right now we come before you. For some of us, we come kind of stressed out a little bit. Some of us really not wanting to be here, or maybe something just took place in the last period class that's upsetting to us, or something maybe happened at home this morning that's been upsetting to us. And so I just ask that your Holy Spirit would have freedom right now to be able to roam inside of us so that we can hear your truth, not listen to this short little guy with a mustache up here who has to work through that as well as the title sometimes that I have, but hear your voice. And so I ask, Lord, that you would help remove those barriers that sometimes comes into our lives so we can't hear you. And I ask, Lord, that your blessing would be upon our time together. In Christ's name, amen. When we're talking about that not trusting Jesus all the time thing, for me, there have been times when my personality and one of my weaknesses is I'm a fix-it person. When there's something that's not right, particularly my children can attest to that, if there's something going on in their lives, even now, my tendency is to fix it and to do it within my own strength. And so for me, to sometimes let go of things and trust God with it, it's not an easy thing. But there have been times in my life when I look back now at moments of where I said, okay, God, I can't do it. I've got to trust you for it, and relied on him. That verse has been impactful and has been powerful and has come true for me. Some of those times in my life, I go back to 1979, where a number of you were even born in 1979. But I go back to that time in my life where I had to make a commitment to leave what I was doing to start Troy Christian Schools. And that was a scary time for me. I had 2 kids. I had a good paying job. And it meant starting the school with not a whole lot of money, and the first year having 37 kids. And then you look at that and see what God has done over the last 34 years is powerful to me. But at the time, I couldn't see this in the sense of knowing that that would be the outcome of trusting him for something. Another big time for me was in 1989 and 90, where the school was going independent but hadn't gone independent yet. And part of the rule was for me as the principal to be a part of the church, that I would reach the point where I didn't feel like I should be a part of that church any longer, which meant quitting my job, quitting being the principal of Troy Christian, which I did not want to do, but trusting God that he would provide something else for me in my life and to take care of my family. And 9 months later, after all was said and done, then for the school to go independent and for me then to be able to continue on as the principal. That was a scary moment. That was a moment of really having to trust God, because I couldn't see, I could not understand what was going on, and I didn't want to leave Troy Christian. But I knew it was time for what was best for my family. Another big moment for me in my life when I look back was in 1993-94, when we knew we needed to start the high school, but it meant to start the high school and do it right. It meant Troy Christian 7th and 8th grade no longer being Troy Christian 7th and 8th, but joining with another Christian school at 7th and 8th grade and allow Dayton Christian to run the school here. That was a tough time in my life, where I had to really trust in God. And there were different times even before that happened, I tried to figure it out and work it out so that it didn't have to come to me. But that wasn't what God wanted, and I had to trust Him for that. Even from a personal standpoint, it was tough for me to trust Him with that because I knew it was affecting one of my own kids. Which I now look back on it, and I could teasingly say to Abby Smith, Abby Wilber at the time, you wouldn't have Scott Smith as your husband if we hadn't done that. See, I couldn't see that at the time. So that was a tough moment for me as well. So as I look back on things in my own life and then to see how God has worked it in ways that I couldn't even begin to understand because I trusted Him, then in 2001, Troy Christian Schools became the ones who ran the high school as opposed to Dayton Christian Schools. And God worked that out in a special way that there is no way that I could have made that happen in my own self. He did that. So I stand before you this morning to tell you there are so many different times in my own life when I have trusted Him, I have seen this verse come alive to me. And I testify to you for that. And that's why, Vale, this morning, as I try to share a little bit about this thing, my heart is that you hear, because I'll bet you anything, in this room, there are a ton of you who are having a hard time trusting God with some stuff. And you can't see Him in the midst of the forest. And I fully can understand and appreciate that. But let me share with you some things that I have learned in this verse. This is a powerful verse. And for those of you that have made a commitment, and I was thrilled to hear what had happened last week, to follow Jesus in a different way than what you had done. You made a commitment to that. Let me tell you, I think this verse could be a turning point and a verse for you to claim in your own life. And it's interesting to hear some of you who've commented to me, that's my favorite verse in school, we're glad we're doing it. I've got a number of staff say the same thing. So this morning and then for the next few weeks, we want to talk about what does that mean to have this straight path that we're talking about. That's why I love the illustration of the tracks. Because even though Luke didn't fully understand what the heck we were trying to get at, and that's okay, but there are, as Scott already said, there are a lot of voices that are coming at us all the time and giving us different directions so that we screw up in many ways and not follow the voice that's trying to give us direction. Happens all the time. And then the other point of it that Luke didn't catch, that's okay. I watched last week, we did this same thing with the elementary. You should have seen the elementary went nuts. There were two kindergartners holding each other because they were so scared that Mr. Butson was going to step on the tracks. I mean, it was funny, and you were nothing compared to them in loudness, nothing. But what happened there, I watched Mr. Butson when he first got out there, before he put that hood on himself, I watched him start looking at that path, and I could see the mind going. I could see him start to try to figure out what was that path. I was playing as it could be to me, to watch him to see if he could figure it out, because he knew what was coming. He knew that hoodie was going over his head, and he's going to have to trust somebody to get him through that path without having them mousetraps fall. So that mousetrap illustration lines up in so many different ways with what the year verse is talking about. But I think it's a great illustration for us as you try to think through a little more. And I trust that image comes to you when you're looking at this verse, is that mousetrap. Because it's kind of slick, I think, and how that can help me work through it. But as we look at this verse, we first see the first part of it. It's giving us three choices to make. Three choices that you and I make in relationship to trust. Okay, first of all, do we trust? Or we're having a pass grade. First of all, a choice that we make is, do we trust? The second thing it's telling us is not to lean on our own understanding. And then the third thing it's telling us is to submit or acknowledge. These are three commands, three directions given to you and I in relationship to having a straight path. Look at that. We begin to understand that I look at this and I say, these are choices that I make. These are choices that you make. Look at how many times the word your is in that verse. I'm assuming it's up there. Yeah. Look at how many times the word your is up there. You see, what God is saying here is He's giving you the choice. That's why sometimes I think it's really important for us to understand our God is not a dictator. He allows us to make choices. And then the last part of that verse, though, gives us the promise of what He will do if we are willing to step out and do these three directions in our lives. And again, the first one talks about and gives us the main idea. The latter part helps us understand what all is taking place. And in between that are two little statements that amplify the idea. Again, the idea being that, again, the main idea here is that we're to trust, and in so doing, our paths will be straight. And in between, He gives us two directions that help amplify exactly what we're talking about. But what's important for us to understand is it's our choice. We choose. And that's the question we have to ask. Do I want to? You see that girl, that's why that's a slick video. She said, I don't want to. There have been times when I've said to God, I don't want to. I didn't want to trust. And here's what else is in that part where we look at those verses where it talks about lean not to your own understanding. I think it's important to understand. That's why I have here. To understand what that means by leaning, that it's also used, and I'm no Greek or Hebrew scholar, okay, but it's referring to leaning on your understanding or leaning in the relationship to using it as a crutch. I don't know about you, but again, my personality, and one of my weaknesses already said, is that I try to fix it. And I have been taught in my life, as well as part of my personality, is to do it and pull yourself up by the bootstraps and do it yourself. I grew up with that kind of philosophy taught to me, as well as I grew up knowing that it still is a part of something I have to deal with in my own personality, because I want to try to fix it. And what it's saying there is you're not going to lean on your own understanding. Does that mean you're not supposed to think? Absolutely not. Does that mean I just do things blindly and just trust God for it and do stupid stuff? No, He's given you a mind. The issue is you're not to lean on that mind as the only basis for it to come to pass. And it gives you that illustration of like leaning on a crutch. I'm leaning on my own abilities. I'm leaning on my own strength. And here's what happens for me. Maybe it doesn't to you, but here's what happens. When I start trying to lean on myself or think it through myself or accomplish it in myself, here's what happens for me. It leads me to worry. There are nights that I don't sleep well because I am worried. And it's always stemming back to the fact that I am trying to fix it or make it happen. You have no idea how many times I worry about making sure that your teachers get their paycheck when they're supposed to, instead of trusting God. Last year was a tough year for us as a school financially. And there were many a night that I wasn't sleeping because I was trying to think through in my own mind and strengthen the relationship, how can I make sure that this happens? And worry about it instead of trusting for it. Here we are. We got another year, don't we? He has always come through. I know Mrs. Ward struggles with teachers all the time. And then we had a big curveball that was thrown at us this year when all of a sudden we had no music teacher, and it was all of a sudden, we're what, 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out? What was it? 3 weeks out. But that's not a very good time to try to choose some music teacher. That's not smart from our perspective and our mind from a business standpoint. But you see, God always has come through with that, and that's where that worry comes in, because we're trying to lean on and fix it ourselves or think it through ourselves. And maybe you don't have that problem, but I'm just saying for me, that's what happens for me, and it leads to worry, which worry affects me physically. The second point there that's brought in that middle section between that phrase there is telling us that, again, as we look at it, to me this is a positive thing, is that we are to submit, or another way of looking at it is acknowledge Him. You see, what that verse is telling us, it's important for us to come to understand that we have to know God and who He is and what He promises. And the only way that's going to happen is by me understanding and spending time understanding His Word. It's the only way it's going to take place. Because through that acknowledging, through that submitting, I begin to understand His character. And one of the biggest things that comes out of there is that I know, and without a shadow of a doubt, that my God loves me. And my God made me. And I can't spend a lot of energy trying to be like somebody else, but accepting how God has made me. We spend a lot of time trying to think or be like someone else, as opposed to coming to understand and acknowledging Him that He's made you special in His eyes, and it's for you to understand that specialness, rather than trying to be like someone else. So that's the second part of that understanding, that trust factor of getting to know our straight path, is becoming to understand Him more and know Him and who He is. And how, again, He wants to be involved in our lives and loves us so. Then the last thing which He talks about then is His promise, that He will make my path straight. Gives me direction in my life. Gives me purpose in my life. That's why I love the Kazone Retreat. Because the Kazone Retreat, and we're going to be sharing with you after today, we have a meeting today talking about Kazone. And Kazone period of time where we try to deal with juniors and seniors. But Kazone is specifically spending the time in a retreat of understanding already in your life God has done things that you sometimes are not even aware of that you need to be aware of, to give you purpose and fulfillment in your life. And that's what the Kazone Retreat does, is you start focusing in on what those things are. But that's His promise to us, is that He will make our paths straight. I want to do something right now with relationship to this verse. I want for you just to close your eyes. And I'm going to read to you a paraphrase of this verse. And try to allow the paraphrase to sink in relationship to it. You may have already memorized, I trust that you have, this verse. But let me share with you something that just has been powerful for me as I've digested this whole verse in my own mind and heart. Here's what I believe is trying to be said to us in this passage. Throw yourself completely upon the Lord. Put all your present and future needs on Him, who is your intimate Savior, God. And find security and safety. Do this with your mind, feeling, and will. And in order for me to do this, I must refuse to support myself with the crutch of human ingenuity. And instead, study the Lord, His Word, and lean on Him, and then learn of His character and discover His plans. Be amazed by His love and concern for each of my circumstances. And when I give Him control, I know He will make my path straight, removing obstacles along the way. Here's the thing that I want you to take away from this morning, guys, is that He will make my path straight as I trust Him. And I want you to begin to think, is there an area in your own life that you're having a hard time trusting? One of the things that I feel is important if you're in a position of leadership, and even as not a position of leadership, but if God has put you to be around others, is the importance of vulnerability. Now, I don't mean laying everything out in front of you, but many times I think, as I did when I was your age, to look at somebody's talking or just experience what we did with Christian, and I look at them and say they must have it all together. And I'm sharing with you relationships. There are those times in my own life where I have seen God fulfill His promise when I've trusted and leaned on Him instead of myself. But I'm going to be honest with you. There are times right now, even in my own life, I've struggled. Of trusting. Not always understanding. I don't understand. Why? Mr. Orange had this point. I don't understand that. So I have to come to the Lord often with that. I don't understand why Marvin Major, who was somebody that I've been a part of his life and involved in his life since he was 6th grade on a mission trip. It was the first time I went with Marvin went to Mexico. It was his eye. And I've watched him grow, mature, be a guy and a man who loved Jesus. And then all of a sudden, last August, what happened, and to watch that whole period of time trying to get back to school. I understand. I have to trust him. I understand why my middle daughter, who finally found something that she enjoys doing by being an EMT, hurt her back so bad that she no longer agreed how to be an EMT. I understand. I understand why we had that fire in our home back in January. Because I know part of it has contributed to my wife once again having chronic fatigue. You don't know what chronic fatigue is, and I know Mr. Royce was talking to him this morning. He's experiencing it himself and he's taking care of his mother. Because what happens with chronic fatigue is you don't feel like getting out of bed. And so the fire contributed to that. As well as the fact that my wife, every other weekend, like this weekend, goes to Columbus for 3 days, 2 to 3 days to take care of her mother. And spends the night and all that. So it's not everything that I understand. But I claim his promise. And God has fulfilled those promises in my own life, even though in some situations right now I'm still asking, not understanding, but I'm trusting that he sees the big picture. I can't see the big picture. He can see the big picture. And I know that he loves me. I struggle at times with things that are happening in your lives. I'm not blind, and I'm not deaf. And I know some of you are struggling with different things in your life, in your own homes, in your own lives personally, with things that are coming at you. And I know there's a number of you that are turned on to Jesus and want to follow him. And there's those of you in this room that can care less. And in my own strength, I want to fix that. I want to shape it and understand that God is truth. But you see, I have to trust him. I have to let go and still be faithful in what he's called me to do, and that's to share Jesus. I will tell you one thing that's come out of the fire, that maybe that's part of the reason, is it has given me an opportunity with my contractor to talk about Jesus and what it means to be different. Because he's been blown away with some things that have happened with the fire where he knew and understood if I got getting ticked off about some stuff that didn't happen when I was supposed to. And I made a choice. I'm not saying that to be puffed up, I'm just saying I made a choice how I was going to handle it. Whether getting angry with him, getting angry with the workers, or whether I was going to still show Jesus' love in the midst of something that was bothering. But that's not how Jesus would want me to respond to it. See, I stand here before you testifying at 62 that my God has followed through. When I have trusted him for it, he has always followed through in my life. And many of you in this room can testify to that as well. My prayer for us this year as we begin to more clearly understand this verse, that it becomes so much a part of us that it's an automatic thing. Here's what I'd like to do. I'd like you to bow your heads. The band's going to come up to start us off this morning. I want to ask you to do something. Right now with your eyes closed, I'd like for you to identify even in your own life, is there something that you know that you're not trusting God? Just one area. Is it a relationship? Maybe it's a relationship with a parent. Maybe it's a relationship with someone in your class. Maybe it's a relationship with a teacher. Or maybe it's an attitude. Or maybe you're struggling through things that have happened to you physically. I look around and I see some of you on crutches. I see others of you that got things on your arm. I know that Isaiah is not here today because of the surgery he just had on Friday. I mean, maybe it's something physical. And I'm just asking if in this moment you just take the time to say, okay, God, I'm going to trust you in this area. And I'm going to lean on you, not my own understanding. I'm going to commit this to you. Pray about this on a daily basis for the next month. And allow you to work in the situation instead of me trying to fix it. We'll give you some time right now just to reflect on that and to talk to the Father.